This video is a review of exponent rules that you probably learned in Algebra 1, but if you didn't or if you're not remembering them, this should fill in any gaps that you have. I'm going to be using examples from page 91 in your textbook, so if you haven't already grabbed your book, you may want to right now. So we're going to be on page 91. If you just want to follow along and then check with me and then check back with your book later, that's fine too. I'm going to do the even ones and save the odd ones for you to use as practice. So starting off with just the parts of a monomial, so the 5x cubed that I have here, there are three different pieces, and the vocabulary words that describe them are helpful to know. The 5 in front, this piece right here, is of course the coefficient. Coefficient. I think that might just have one F, not two F's, but that's all right. You know what I mean. And this means 5 times x cubed. The x is referred to as the base. That's the part that's being raised to the 3, the exponent 3, which is the power. So this really means 5 times x times x times x, or 5x cubed. The x is the base. That's what's being raised to the power or the exponent of 3. And being able to distinguish between those three pieces is pretty important once you start applying some more complicated rules. So we're going to just take a look at these three examples, negative x to the 5th, 3x in parentheses squared, and 2 to the 4th, and talk about coefficient, base, and exponent in each one of these examples. So the first one, the negative 1 x to the 5th. Think about what the coefficient would be, what the base would be, and what the exponent or the power would be here. If you want to pause and answer those yourself and then check with my answers, that might be a really great idea. In fact, I would pause, check, pause, try it yourself, check again, and then pause, try it yourself, and check for the third one, just to make sure that you're really understanding the difference between coefficient, base, and exponent. So the coefficient of negative x to the 5th power is an invisible 1. So the coefficient is negative 1. There's that invisible 1 right there. Negative 1 times x to the 5th. The base is x. That's what's being raised to the 5th power. And of course the exponent is 5. So negative 1 is not being raised to the power of 5. And in fact, if you put something like this into your calculator and you wanted that negative 1 to be raised to the 5th power, you'd have to put it in parentheses. And we'll do a couple of those as well here in a minute. So if you want to try to figure out or to guess what coefficient, base, and exponent are of the next example, pause the video, try it yourself, and then unpause. So in this case, it may be easier to start with thinking about the exponent or the power first, and that's pretty obviously 2. The base is whatever is being raised to that power, and in this case, everything in the parentheses, everything from this parenthesis over to this parenthesis is what the base is. 3 times x is the base, right? This really means 3x times 3x. And the coefficient is invisible. There is no coefficient written, but there is a coefficient. It's just the invisible 1. Coefficient is 1. All right, go ahead and try the last one on your own. Hit pause, guess, and then hit play and check your work. The coefficient in this case is that invisible 1 again. The base in this case is 2, and the exponent is 4. And let's think about this last example in terms of the calculator. If you enter in your calculator negative 2 to the 4th and hit enter, and then hit parentheses negative 2, close your parentheses and raise that to the 4th, you're going to get two different answers. And they look almost the same, but the first one is going to give you a negative result. The second one is going to give you a positive result. And the reason is the first one, negative 2 to the fourth, has a different base. In this case, the base is only the 2. It's just the 2 that's being raised to the power of 4. And that negative 1 is the coefficient. So in this case, coefficient is negative 1, base is 2, and exponent is 4. In the second example, the negative and the 2 are the base. That's why you end up with a positive answer in the calculator. Let's see, coefficient is a positive 1 out here now. The base is negative 2 and the exponent is 4. I'm going to split this video series into a couple of them, so I'm going to pause this or conclude this video, and in the next video I'm going to take a look at the product of powers and the power of powers rule, which applies some of those vocabulary words: coefficient, base, and exponent.